I mean, that sounds very, very close to me. Bocchi The Rock and Kessoku Band have this distinct guitar tone. It's that clean tone, but sharp overdrive from a Les Paul. So how do we replicate it? We're not going to be using any external pedals today. It's pretty well known that Kessoku Band, and even it can be seen in Bocchi The Rock, that there was a Boss BD2 and Rat distortion pedal used. But I know a lot of you watching won't have access to one of those, so let's see if we can do it just on the PC with simulators alone. I think we got pretty close, so let's dive right into it. And from there, in these anime shots, we can lightly see pretty much what amps they were using. So now with that information, we can head into FL Studio here and we'll try and replicate this sound. First, let's listen to it and see what it sounds like so we have a baseline to work from. So this is what the guitar sounds like clean. So it's very tangy. And of course, we have the position of the switch on treble. Now, we all know that Bocchi uses a Boss BD2. I have one. So here's what it sounds like when I turn that on without an amp sim. See, it still kind of just sounds like a bee buzzing around. It sounds like some hot garbage. So we need to fix that. So I'm going to be using an amp sim called ToneLib today. This thing is awesome. You can go ahead and download it with your free trial with this right here. Wink, wink, hint. From all the images and stuff we see of the studio, I'm pretty sure this was a Marshall JCM 900 or JCM 2000 that was used. So you can use either one. The 2000 kind of gets a little bit of a cleaner sound, so I tend to use that on my Strat guitars. But for a Les Paul, I think this 900 is the type of sound that we're going for. All right, I don't know how much of it I can play for copyright reasons. So first things first, we have our amp. These are the settings that I've just set it to for now. Next, we're going to move to the cabinet itself. We're going to use this Guitar Cab HD here. So we've got the JCM 900 Marshall amp sim set up with the Marshall 1960A guitar cabinet, which is a 4x12. And we've got all these different settings you can mess around with. This is what it sounds like right now. And that is completely clean. I don't have anything on with my pedal board. And so if we listen to the original, it's pretty close already. So I think we definitely need some OTT. This is a multi-band compressor you can get online for free from X4 Records. It's absolutely awesome. It's one of my favorite plugins ever. And what I'm going to do with this compressor is I am going to squish this guitar. So without it, it sounds like this. And then you put the compressor on. You can see how I'm really squishing it. I think this should be pretty good. All right, that's a pretty decent start. Next, we need some EQ on it. Now, this EQ is where things get a little tricky. We want to leave some of the bass in for the guitar. You don't want to cut everything out because then it'll just sound really, really thin. So we want some of that natural area in between the 50 and 70 hertz range. What we can do is when we play this guitar, we can pluck a string and we can create a bell. And if we make this bell very narrow, what we can do is isolate the really harsh frequencies. So you can see kind of around this 2000 range right here. You don't have to like fully cut it out like this, but just small amounts right in that range. And we can give it a little bit of an incline here at the end. And then there's kind of like a little bit of muddiness going on right around here. So I just want to get rid of a little bit of that. Not too much, though. So to be honest with you, it's a little bit hard to hear in isolation, but in the mix, this is what matters, this EQ. Once you stack a bunch of instruments on top of each other by doing this, it creates a lot cleaner of a mix. Just by hearing it on its own, I don't think you're going to notice much of a difference, if I'm being honest. All right, then I'm going to get a fruity compressor out, and I'm just going to use a vintage preset, which is this one down here. And we're just going to make this very, very light. It's not going to be doing that much. I think that's a pretty decent starting point. Now we can start messing around with the settings in the actual amp and cabinet. So first things first, I think I'm going to turn down the bass a little bit, and I might turn down the mids as well. These Marshall amps are very strong on the mids. If you make it a little bit lower on the mid, you might get a little bit thinner and tangier sound. That one's pretty close right there. I think I'm going to bring the treble up to 80 and maybe 35 on the presence. All right, so we're starting to get pretty close there. I think we're doing a pretty good job. Now let's go into dynamics and look for the noise gate. And I'm going to bring the noise gate to about 40 depth. And I just want this to be quite sharp, honestly. I think I'm going to go 80 on the threshold, and I'll go 2 milliseconds on the delay. I mean, we're getting pretty close there. All right, now we just need a little bit of drive. So this is where the pedals come in. I'm going to turn on my Boss BD2 right now, and you'll see how this affects this. So you can see the Boss BD2 really gives it that sound. But what if you don't have one? Well, you can use an alternative that you have, like maybe a Tube Screamer, or for me, I have this sick pedal called the Midnight Jackal from Limestone Audio. But like I said, I don't think many of you are going to have a Midnight Jackal. It's pretty much an SSR gotcha pull of guitar pedals. The wonderful thing about ToneLib is it has pedals built in for you. So let's add a few of them and see which one works best. I think it's honestly going to be between the Rat Distortion, the Distortion 1, or the Super Overdrive. But you can hear in the original, it's got that drive with high end to it. There's a lot of treble in it. And there's honestly some studio reverb too. So let's go to our reverberation and add some studio reverb. It's more like 2.5 seconds on the timing, and the mix is maybe only 40%. So that's pretty close with the reverb, but we need that drive to give it that punch. You can hear it's just a little too narrow and shallow right now. So let's try the Rat Distortion first. Also pay attention and make sure that you're doing this when using ToneLib. The pedals have to go before the amp simulator. So this is how it works in real life too. We go from the guitar as the input into the pedals as the output, and then the output finally goes to the amp, which is what you hear out loud. So these are the stock settings on the Rat. All right, it's pretty good, but it's a little too metal almost. It's quite strong. So I think if we knock it back a little bit, I think this might work a little bit better for the Rat pedal. Let's listen to the original. Maybe a little bit more drive. I think 40 actually might be good for it. I mean, that's pretty decent. We'll see what the chorus sounds like. I mean, that's pretty close to how the song originally is. That sounds pretty close right there. So if you want to use the Rat pedal, I think these settings are good for it. I mean, it's pretty close to the tone that they use, I think. I mean, that sounds very, very close to me, but let's try the other pedals if you want to use those. Now, the DS1 is a bit of a different sound. I think I should just play it so you can hear what I mean. You can see it's kind of almost a little fuzzy. But then once you start turning the tone up and increasing more drive, it almost becomes more high end. As you can see there, which is basically the opposite effect of the Rat Distortion. I think we're going to use a bit of the same of what we've been doing, where it's a little bit of drive, a little bit of level, a lot of tone. I feel like this pedal needs a little bit more drive in the sound to get that mid-range really out. Tone's a little bit too strong. I'm not really feeling this pedal, if I'm being honest with you. I feel like it's not quite capturing that sound we need. Yeah, it's a little too, I don't know, it sounds very 90s to me, very classic. I'm going to try one more thing, which is going high on the level, but low on the drive. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about the DS one. I would personally use the Rat over this one, but if you're looking for more of like a mid-range sound with a lot of drive to it, this is probably the way to go. All right, the Super Overdrive. I'm going to say right off the bat, I don't think this one is going to work. I think this Super Overdrive is too thin for this lead, but we'll try it anyways. So if I bring up the EQ, you're going to be missing a lot of this below 200 hertz range from basically here back. It doesn't really add too much drive to that, but you can get some crazy sounds with it, especially from the pinch harmonics. It's kind of good for stuff like that. Maybe the solo you could use it in. I don't know. Those are the only things I could really see it being used in. I just don't think it works for this song. But there is this fuzz part later in the song that it might work for. But yeah, if I had to pick, I think the Rat is the best way to go. But I think what I have it set to is very, very, very close to the original sound. If you listen to other Kessoku Band songs like Into the Light or Doppelganger, they pretty much all use the same guitar tone for the lead guitar. All right, so let's run through each of the settings. First, we have a Rat distortion pedal. These are the settings that I went with. Then that feeds into the Marshall JCM 900 amp sim. So here are the settings for that. This goes into the HD guitar cabinet, which is a Marshall 1960A 4x12. We're using the dynamic MD421 mic, and these are the position settings and distance settings we use, as well as some extra settings down there. From there, we added a little bit of a noise gate. This is optional. You don't have to have this. It's just to get rid of that buzz. And then finally, some studio reverb, very slight, only 35 on the mix and 3 seconds on the timing. It's barely noticeable. And for my own band and the Manga maxed out, I actually used this tone in our latest song, Tadaima, which sounds like this. But most importantly, what do you guys think about the tone? Did you like it? Do you think it sounds similar to what Kessoku Band already has? And before I sign off here, I just wanted to say, for those of you who don't know, I do have my own manga. Yes, it's kind of crazy. I am a musician and a manga artist at the same time.
It's a struggle. I don't want to hide that at all.
It's a lot of work, okay? But it would mean a lot if you guys could support the manga. And of course, if you like Bocchi The Rock, I think you'll like this story too. They kind of follow a similar path. I mean, it's definitely no secret. Bocchi The Rock has definitely inspired this story, and I've spoken about that many times. But the cool thing about it is that not only did I make the manga, but I also wrote the music for it. You can listen to the music here on Spotify or by simply searching up Strawberry Jam, which is the name of the band in the story. I paired with a real Japanese vocalist to help me write these songs. And so far, we've created 3 really cool tracks. A new track releases with every chapter, and it's been so much fun to work on this project. Yui is extremely talented, and I can't wait to continue writing songs with her and bringing this story to life. So with that, our new single, Tadaima, is out, and the tone that you heard in this video was used in that song. Anyways, that's it for this video. Thank you guys for your continued support, and I'll see you in the next one.